Hello everyone, welcome back. In this part, we're going to talk about JavaScript functions. So let's say here we have variable of a to be 5 and then variable of b to be, let's say, 3. Here, let's say we want to add these numbers together. So the normal way is we can create some variable and give the total value to this one. And this should save the total for us. But in some cases, for example, this is going to be again divided by b, added by a again, then multiplied by b again, and go to power of a. This is not some simple thing that we can have. So instead of these bunch of work, we're going to create some function so it can create something for us. Functions are basically if we have bunch of code which is working, we want to use them again and again. Instead of using those codes rapidly, we're going to create some function and we're going to call the function. So here I'm going to create some function. And for creating function, here we need to put our function keyword, then name for our function, which here is going to be add right here, and then inside these parentheses we're going to have our parameters and then our function code, which is going to be inside this block. Let's say here first of all we have the function of height, and here we're going to have one line of code which is console.log because we want to printing this, and here we're going to simply have our hello world right here. And now if I call my function, which is going to be our function's name followed by opening parentheses and closing one, and if we don't have any parameters right here, this should do the work. And if I refresh the page, you can see now we have this hello world going on, and we can have bunch of other things. So let's say we want to have another numbers right here and some maybe boolean values. Again, if I refresh, you can see that if I have this going on, I'm going to have all of these printing. And if I have this 2 times, pay attention that both of my calls is going to be work. Here in the first one, it's going to come here, print our hello world, which is this one, then our number, which is this one, and our boolean value, which is true. Then it's going to come and call our function second time, and this one it's going to be this one, which is again executing these commands. And you can do any code that you want in this way. But in some cases, you want to pass some things to your function right here, and you want that one to be in the code. For example, here we have variable of p right here, and we have the same thing going on here. And here, if I give the value of a, it's going to put the p as my a right here, which is 5, and here it's going to be printing my 5. And here, if I refresh the page, you can see here we have this one. And of course, we can have 2 values. So let's say this is p1, and after this, we're going to have our p2 right here. Let's actually delete this hello world right here. Then this should be 2, not 20. And here let's compare a with the b, which let's say if a equals to the b, which you know that here because we have p1 and p2, we should use these values. So this is going to be p1. This is going to be p2, and here let's say we want to print p1 in the first place and then p2 in the second line. So here we need to give 2 values to our function. Here first one is our a and then our b. Now if I refresh the page, you can see our first variable is 5, then this is 3, and we get the false value. And pay attention that here we can give the function our statics value. For example, let's say I want to give 5 right here. If I refresh right here, you can see this is 5 because it's going to get from the A, which is 5 again here. But our P2, which is going to get from this, I defined this 5. So here we got that 5 too, and this gives us the true value. And another thing that we can have is to have our function to return something for us. So let's change the name to the add, and here if I write my return, it's going to return something whenever I call my function. For example, here let's say we want to return P1 plus P2. So here if I use my add function right here and give this value of A and B and refresh the page, you can see nothing happens because this is going to be returned some value, but we don't have usage for that value and we're not saving that anywhere. So here if we have another value of C and save the response and return of this function to our C and then console log our C, you can see that here we're going to have our return going on, which is 8 and 5 plus 3. And of course we can have this function calling only in this console log and don't have this variable. So here you can see again, if I refresh the page, we can get this variable. And if I change this to anything, again, we're going to have that dynamic code running. And you know that we can give other values to this. So let's say here we want 15 and 18. Here we want 120. And here if I refresh, you can see here first we're going to have 13, which is 5 plus 8. Then we're going to have 33, which is 18 plus 15. And then 120, which is total of these two numbers. And of course we can have, for example, sub here as subtraction. And here if I use this value and change the name of my function right here, you can see if I refresh, we get the results. So 5 minus 8 is going to be -3. 18 with 15. Actually, let's change this one so we get different values here. We got -4 and here we got 80 right here. And you can this to be, let's say, multiplication and use the star right here. You can use the power and make this POW as power or our mod or division or anything that you want. And you can do anything, it's not only with numbers. For example, let's say you want to have your console log here and you want to print P1 right here. And here you can have, let's actually make this F1 as our function's name. And here in F1, you can give this and pass this some strings. For example, this is test for our function. And here, if you refresh the page, you can see that it's going to print this one to our console. And here again, you can have your integer values going on and it's going to be work again. And you know that you can have both of them working, each one after the other one. And here, if you refresh, you can see all of them. Please give a like and subscribe to catch next videos.